Hi, everyone. I got a bunch of questions of what happened, why did you have to do this, blah, blah, blah. And maybe I was not clear because when you see me doing my actions and then suddenly you see me having neck surgery, you're logically asking the question, how did that happen, But just making a long story as brief as possible. In the last, I would say 6-7 years, my neck issues, which I didn't know it was obviously coming from my neck, but my left arm started to have a lot of numbing, a lot of pain, a lot of tingling, all the way down to the hand, eventually all the way down to the hand. So as the months progressed, my arm became very weak. I've been unable to hold on to even there was times I wasn't able to hold on to a plate of food. And it was going back and forth. And I've been going to my neurologist to see what the problem is, what we can do. And at the time, there was no other option as other traditional pain methods like physical therapy. I was doing all the movement exercises, strengthening of the different muscles, trying to relieve the pain of my nerves up here. But there was no way. It was just getting gradually worse and worse. And I was honestly hoping that a lot of this pain was also related to the emotional pain that I was feeling with taking care of Ron in 7-8 years. And I was hoping that when Ron was gone in October last year, when he passed away, I thought that maybe I will get a stretch and maybe things gonna get better. And in my arm, things actually just got worse to the point that that started to have a limitation, like muscle limitations as well, and muscle pain, which I didn't really have that much. I mostly just had nerve pain of tingling and numbness and so forth. And I started to have muscle pain all the way down on the front of my biceps and all the way in the back towards my scapula. And I went to therapy all the time. I went to massage all the time. I tried everything, all the traditional treatments, and nothing helped me. And that's when I got to the point that I went to a doctor in Florida, a spine surgeon in Florida, and he said the same thing. And by the way, just so you're ready for the next episode, I have a very similar issue in my lower back that's causing me a lot of pain, which I am maintaining as well. And I didn't want to do 2 surgeries at the same time, but that one is going to be done in probably in November if all goes well. And so the main thing was I went to one doctor, and he immediately said that there is instability, not just the fact that there is a herniation, but there are instability in between 4 and 5 and 5 and 6. And that instability can cause me really major issues, especially if I fall the wrong way, even if I just get into any just a simple if I get into a simple car accident, even a smaller car accident, and things don't move right, I could have major issues from neck down. And that kind of scared me. But I went for a second opinion to New York City because that's what my sister said, that, she understands that I have to have surgery, but she's not allowing me to have a surgery unless I go to HSS in New York. And in front of her, because I took her with me, they said the same thing. And the guy said, listen, you can go on like this, but you cannot do your sports. You cannot do any of the things that you love, because one fall and it's over. And last summer, I actually distinctly remember that I was now relearning how to windsurf, and I was using the trapeze. I don't know if you guys know that, but you're holding the sail of a windsurf, and then in order to help your arms not to do all the job and stay out in a bigger storm for a longer period of time and really enjoy what windsurfing is about, you have to use what's called a trapeze, which is like a belt that you need to put on yourself. And that belt has a little hook on it, and the bar that you are holding on to the sail with, the bar has a little wire that hooks into that hook. So basically, your entire body is holding the sail, and not just your arms, because it would get tired. And when I was a little younger, and I was in windsurfing, I actually broke a couple of my muscles here because I didn't learn how to use the trapeze. But the problem with that is that if you don't unhook the trapeze in time, then what happens is that if it gets stuck, it takes you with the sail into the water. So not only that you get hit by the water, but you also land on top of either the sail or the boom or some not so good situation. And last summer I had one incident like that, and I landed on the left side, and I don't know, for a week I could not lift my arm up. And it kind of sent me a really strong message that this, combined with what the doctor said at HSS, that yes, this is pretty serious stuff, and I could lose. And the worst part is, if you don't tend to it, even if you don't want to be playing sports anymore, if you don't tend to this issue, the nerves get to be squashed so much and so long that they're going to end up being actually dying. And you cannot bring up a dead nerve, that you just can't make it come alive. But a nerve that has been compressed a very long period of time, you can still breathe some life into those nerves. But once they are dead, you can't. And that's when permanent problems develop. So it's pretty scary stuff. So when I went with my sister, I have to admit, I was scared. That was a bad day. I had a pretty strong come to Jesus meeting with my own self of what I want to do in my life. And then I said, listen, I need to do who I am. And if I do what I do for 5 more years or 10 more years, wonderful. But it has to be who I am and what I want at this point in my life. So that was the story behind why I needed the surgery and the urgency of it. Because if I get it done now, then by next summer, I can do everything. Supposedly 6 months from now, I can do everything. But you know me, I actually am smart about these things. Even with my ACL surgery 30 years ago, they said 6 months, and I didn't go back to full impact until about 10, 12 months. So you got to give the body time to heal, because if you just cut your finger, it takes forever to heal. Now imagine that everything that they have done and back in here. And I just, to tell you, this was like the brief intro of why I had to have it done. And then the next part is what was done is, you can look this up on the internet anywhere, in YouTube, anywhere, that essentially what happens is that they have to go into your spinal cord, into the vertebrae, and they remove the disc, the damaged disc. So literally they go in here, open it up, they remove the damaged disc. They also remove the bones, the bone spurs that grow around the damaged disc to protect it. And then they put in the implant and lock it in with a titanium plate. And then we hope through the months that the bone, the healthy bone, the new bone, will grow around the disc again and starts to protect it. So that's the plan. Now, quick update as to what happened yesterday and what happened overnight today. So yesterday, we had a very scary moment. And I finally was at the point that I wanted to go out a little bit. Saturday night, I went out with my one of my sisters and her husband to have dinner. It was my first time out, and it was wonderful. I felt alive again. So on Sunday, I was gonna go out to the backyard and just go a little sunbathing, just get a little sun. I'm white as a snow in the middle of summer, so it's ridiculous. So I wanted to go to get a little sun, and I sit down in a chair, and my back was up, obviously, because I can't really lie down unless I have like 2-3 pillows. And I was just enjoying the moment. I enjoyed the sunshine, and boom, the chair just collapsed. And there was no reason whatsoever for that chair to collapse, because it was stuck in properly. There was nothing wrong with the chair. But remember, I'm in an upright position with a bad neck, and then boom, just suddenly I am down there. So I gotta tell you that I rarely get really scared, but I got really, really, really scared. And thankfully, my niece was home, and she heard the loud noise, and she heard me, and I was crying, and I was in shock. I gotta admit, that was suddenly everything just ran through me, that this whole surgery is gonna have to be redone, and all the things just suddenly, you don't even know what goes through you, and you are in shock. And then she calmed me down, and she was like, "Listen, everything is working. Your arm is working. You can stand up, so nothing happened. So don't worry about it." So that was the biggest thing, is that it turned out that it was a huge scare. My muscles just spasmed so badly, because they were already spasming, because that's one of the reasons it hurts. But they spasmed so badly because they suddenly had to protect something again. And then my wonderful nurse, because actually my niece is a nurse, and she got me back in. She got me settled, and we put together a nice little cocktail of a quick painkiller with the Tylenol and a half of the muscle relaxant, and that just let things out. And by the end of the day, I gotta tell you, I love my brain sometimes. I really do. I love my brain a lot of times. When it lets me sleep, I love it a little more. But suddenly I just saw the good thing about it, a good thing about this thing. The good thing about this was that if I survived that yesterday, which was really bad, suddenly it just made me believe that this is all gonna be okay. And I'm actually tearing up even now. So that's gonna be okay. And this is so strong, and my bones are so strong, and the surgery was so good, that everything is gonna be great. And I let go of a lot of probably bottled up fear, that I was just, with the sense of humor and this and that, I was probably just covering up. So I let go of a lot of that emotion, and I felt so much better yesterday. At night, I even started to do a little bit of a workout. I was doing some stretches that my niece showed me that would be safe. I did a little bit of squats. God knows that's the only way I can lift anything up, is squatting. I did a couple of those things, and I started to feel alive again. I say, okay, we can do this. And last night was the first night where I was able to sleep 2.5, 3 hours, and then get up, maybe just loosen up things. It wasn't really painful, just I had to change direction, and my position, that is. And then I slept another 2.5, 3 hours. So last night I slept through the night, essentially, for the first time. And I woke up this morning and I said, okay, this is all good. Of course, it lasted all the way until I'm feeling great. Okay, so I'm not taking the Tylenol in the morning. I'm not taking the muscle relaxant. We're just gonna go home to Clifton, and I am all braving it out. And then I got in the car. I have a friend who is driving me. I got in the car, and I felt every single damn bump on the road, every single bump. And it's like a huge shot going through your neck, and it's like tiny little bumps, but there are many. Hungary and America is pretty much the same as far as road conditions are concerned. So it's all the same. I was like halfway through the trip, I said, why didn't I take the medication. So that's one thing that's gonna go into my little handbook that I'm writing right now, is that before you go out to travel, even if it's a brief travel, you do gotta take your pain medication. But as you can tell, this was a very scary day yesterday. But if you just allow your brain to find the positives in it, you will feel you will allow your body and your soul and everything to get through the tough stuff. Now, I am lucky because I have a great family and they are around me and they help me every way, which way they can. I can't even imagine how would someone do this by themselves, but hopefully the handbook I'm writing will be helpful for everyone. So this is, in a nutshell, my update for today. I'm going to go and watch the match right now. I hope Argentina didn't score yet, or there was no score yet, because it's after 1 p.m. In America. And I will see you guys and talk to you later. Bye.